Hey everybody, it's Oksana and I'm super excited to do the eyeshadow junkie tag because I am definitely an eyeshadow junkie. I love eyeshadows and this is going to be the natural edition because, as you know, I try to use pretty much all just natural mineral eyeshadows, natural products. I do have a few that are like quasi-natural, but for the most part they're just all your basic mineral eyeshadows. So I did have to alter a few of these questions a tiny bit to make them easier to answer. But let's get started with number one, which is favorite drugstore line for eyeshadows. So these are, how I changed this is just like drugstore prices, because it's hard to find natural eyeshadows at the drugstore. You pretty much can't find any. I guess there's a few brands, they're not drugstore, that you can find them at like Whole Foods, so it's kind of the opposite of what this question is looking for. It's probably looking, for drugstore prices. So I am gonna say Silk Naturals. I have so many Silk Naturals eyeshadows. This is my matte palette. I think with the exception of this one, they're all Silk, or these two. They're all Silk Naturals. I have some Silk Naturals in here that are, the non-mattes. And this does have a mix of different brands, but it's like 90% Silk Naturals. I also have some The All Natural Face in here as well, which is another really nice brand, and I do really, really like it. But Silk Naturals just has so much variety. They're easy to shop with because they have great pictures and swatches on their website. As much as I like the All Natural Face, I don't quite know what I'm getting with their eyeshadows. Some of them are starting to have pictures, like better pictures, but sometimes it's just like a picture of the powder in a jar and you can't really tell, like, is this pearly? Like, what is it gonna look like on me, like, when it's actually applied? So I love Silk Naturals. They're very affordable. They're, I believe, $4.50 for a jar, standard size. Here, see if I have one. A standard size jar. Actually, this is a little mini one. Their jars are slightly bigger than this because this is a gift with purchase that I have here. But love them. Question number two, favorite eyeshadow primer. So my favorite eyeshadow primer is ColourPop Glow, which is actually an eyeshadow. And my skin is so dry on my hand, I almost don't want to swatch this on the back of my hand here. I'll show it to you this way. It is just like a very, very light ivory, just slightly lighter than my skin color, which is what I like. I like that it evens out my lids. So it's like a primer and a base in one, and I really enjoy it. The ingredients, it's quasi-natural. It does have phenoxyethanol in there, but it is slightly better ingredients than Too Faced Shadow Insurance because it doesn't have the PGs in there. So I think it's a good alternative if you're somebody like me and eyeshadows crease on you and you just can't do all natural primers. It's a good compromise, so I really love that, and that's what I used for my eyeshadow primer. Question number three, first ever eyeshadow purchase, and do you still use it? So back when I bought my first eyeshadows, which was in high school, they were these little, I believe both Maybelline and CoverGirl made these. I think it was called Cool Effects or something. They're these little squeezy tubes of liquid eyeshadows, and they, they're quite liquidy, and you put it on and just kind of dries on, and I just had like a pale shimmery pink and like a pale shimmery champagne or something, so I would just wear those all over, and it was quick and easy and just kind of brightened up my eyes a little bit. I didn't know very much about makeup. I didn't know about, what a crease was. So that was what I used, is those little eyeshadows. Do you still use them? No, I do not. They don't even make them anymore. However, a really neat alternative is the Silk Naturals liquid eyeshadows. They're kind of similar. They do come in a little wand, kind of like a lip gloss, but they have that same consistency, and they dry on. Both the Maybelline or CoverGirl, or both of those brands, and the Silk Naturals, the way they work is it's like a little watery, and it dries on your skin, and then it stays put really well unless you wet it. If you wet it, it washes off really easily. So unless you're in the rain or crying or something, they actually last quite well. So anyways, just wanted to throw out that alternative. And number 4, best drugstore eyeshadow dupe. So this is how I went about this question because in order to do dupes, you know, you have to have some high-end brands and stuff like that, and I don't really have anything. Like, you saw my eyeshadows. They're pretty much all Look Naturals. So there's this color that I am obsessed with, and it is a dupe. I don't have the real eyeshadow. It's an Urban Decay Nooner eyeshadow. And this is the dupe. It's called Parallel. So I can't actually compare it to let you know how similar it is, but this is amazing. Oh my gosh. I cannot live without this eyeshadow. It's such a good eyeshadow. It's so pretty. It's a matte one. I put it in the crease like for an easy look. I always reach for this. It's wonderful. So considering it's supposed to be dupe, that's going to be my answer, because that's the best dupe. The most underrated eyeshadow, or eyeshadow palette. So I don't hear a whole lot about Honeybee Gardens. They do make eyeshadows, and maybe you're familiar with them. I do hear things about the brand. They have like a pressed foundation that gets talked about a little bit. But overall, despite the fact that it's pretty easy to access them, they are sold in some stores now. They're sold in some Ulta stores, as well as like some natural stores as well. They have a palette, and I don't know what the actual palette is called, but one of the colors in there is a brown eyeshadow. It's pressed, and it comes in like a circular pan, but I actually broke it and repressed it because, you know, I can't have a circular pan when all my other pans are squares, right? Or rectangles. And the brown eyeshadow is called Cashmere. And it is just the softest, most buttery, rich brown. My God, this, like, it's worth buying that whole palette for this eyeshadow, because the rest of the palette is actually kind of eh. But this eyeshadow that's in that palette, amazing. So I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about that eyeshadow or really any of their pressed eyeshadows very much at all. So that's my underrated product. Favorite single eyeshadow. So the way I went about this, you guys know I just mentioned I love that Parallel eyeshadow, and I do. But I was thinking, okay, if I am stuck with just one eyeshadow, I can just wear one eyeshadow, which one would it be? And so I picked a light color that I can just wear all over the lid, because I don't want to pick, a dark crease color, because then what am I going to put everywhere else, if I can only have one. So I picked this one, and it's called Sonic from Silk Naturals, and it's just an amazing, shimmery, beautiful, pinky, golden, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's like magical fairy dust all over your eyeballs. So nice. So that's my one. If I could just wear one eyeshadow, then I could just wear that. Favorite cream eyeshadow. So I mentioned ColourPop before. I like them the best. I don't really have a lot of cream eyeshadows to choose from in my collection. I do like the Silk Natural ones a lot. Those are kind of more of a liquid eyeshadow. But these are great. I use this one for base, and then I have some darker ones, and I actually use them as an eyeliner. Kind of like smudge them out. Which reminds me, I meant to use one of them and do like a eyeliner underneath my eyes today, and I forgot. I forgot to do that. Oh well. Favorite neutral eyeshadow. Okay. So we're back to this matte palette. I don't know if the Parallel would count, then that would be my favorite neutral eyeshadow, but it's got like a rosy pink kind of tone to it, so I don't know if people are looking for something truly neutral, in which case I would have to pick this right here, which is Eu-Taupe-ia, and I do have that today, just, up here, kind of not in my outer V, my God, I am struggling. In my outer V, I have this color called Moss, which is a matte green from Silk Naturals. But then to blend that, I have Eu-Taupe-ia, which is a taupe, just like a very neutral taupe. So it's just great for everything. You can use it as a transition color, and it works really nicely because it's so neutral. You can wear it with warmer colors, with cooler colors, so I really like it. So that's neutral eyeshadow. Favorite colored eyeshadow. So this is hard. I do love colors, although lately I have not been wearing colors as much. I used to wear, you know, really fun eyeshadow looks all the time, and I've been going through this like very neutral phase for a while now. But I do have some fun colors here to share with you, and I'm not gonna pick just one. I'll pick a couple. So this color called PS from Silk Naturals, this is really fun. I love popping this just like over here for a little added color. This one here from the All Natural Face, Absinthe, I think is how you pronounce that. This is a fun one too. Woo, it is bright, but that's a cool one. And then I am a huge fan of purple. So let me think which purple I'm gonna pick. There's two that are really awesome from Silk Naturals. Trying to not stab my eyeshadows with my nail. Scream and Breathe. Here they are. I guess this one's Breathe, this one's Scream. Scream has a little bit more of like a blue tone to it, but oh my god. Oh, they're so pretty. So pretty. I can keep going, but since this asked for one, I should probably stop now. Okay, and now I can't see my last question because it's covered up. Okay, the last question is best eyeshadow palette ever. So as you saw, my palettes are, you know, homemade. I like to press my eyeshadows. I do love palettes, so I make my own palettes. However, it's really rare to actually find a ready-made palette of all natural pressed eyeshadows. They do exist, and there's a few of them out there, and I actually don't really have any. I have some from like Bare Minerals, but what I thought would be the best answer for this question is Silk Naturals has a dupe for the Naked palettes, and there's one for the Naked 3. It has 12 eyeshadows, just like the Naked 3 palette, and it's $39.99, and I think they're all stacked. I think they're like these little, I think it's like 6 and 6. So it's kind of like a palette, or you could press it and then have a Naked 3 dupe palette. So the reason that one would be the one I would pick is there's a few colors, and I'm looking at them here because I wrote it down, that are in there that I think are really nice. And I think all together, it would make a really great palette to have because you can do so many like really great looks. Like a lot of the shadows in there are shadows that I use all the time. So we have Link for a dark color. It's kind of like a dark brown. It's almost matte, pretty much matte. So you have Link. This is actually, I think, a good dupe for the cashmere. It might be a tiny bit darker than that Honeybee cashmere I showed you guys. And then you have my favorite color, Parallel. And then another one that I think works really well with it. So this is Parallel. The one next to it is Analog. So Analog, Parallel. Then you have Cash, which is something that I dropped, which is just like a very nice, I have it in like a tiny thing here. Kind of a highlighter color you can use all over. I make my own highlighter. Just because I'm so pale, it's a little bit lighter than most highlight colors. I have a video on that. But, you know, this would work well also. So there's some amazing looks you can do with just these 4 right here. And there's a lot more in there because there's 12 eyeshadows. And there's some other really great colors in there. So that would be my pick for a palette. So that's it. That is my eyeshadow junkie tag video, and feel free, anybody that wants to do this, I tag you, feel free to do it. I know I saw my friend Cherie and Elise both do this, and it's a really fun tag. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. So if you guys want to do it, go ahead. I would love to see. And if you just want to tell me, like, if you like some of these questions, but maybe you don't make YouTube videos, but you wish you could answer some of these, feel free to answer them in the comments. I would love to hear, you know, what your favorites are and all that stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.